In section 6.3, you're going to use long division to divide polynomials. And before we get started, I just want to remind you that you want to put the divisor. So the divisor is the number that you're dividing into a number, and the number that's getting divided is called the dividend. The value or the number of times the divisor goes into the dividend is called the quotient. So here are the vocabulary words. If I refer back to them, you'll know what they mean. You want to put the divisor and the dividend in standard form. Okay, before we divide polynomials, I want to go back over how you would do long division without variables. And it's shown right here, but I'm going to redo this problem step by step, just so you can remember the steps of long division. All right, when we take 21 and we divide it into 443, we ask how many times does 21 go into 4? Well, it doesn't, so then we go and we look at how many times does it go into 44. So 21 is going to go into 44 2 times. So once we put the number 2 up here, then we multiply it by the divisor. So 2 times 21 is 42. Then we switch the signs of the sign of this number. Instead of saying subtract, I'm going to say switch the sign, because that's what we're going to do with polynomials. Switch the sign and add. So this is going to be 2, and then I need to bring this 3 down here. So that's going to give me 23. And then I repeat the process. How many times does 21 go into 23? Well, that's going to be 1 time. Once I put this number up here, I multiply 1 times 21, so that's going to give me 21. I switch the sign and add. And when I add 23 and negative 21, I'm going to get a positive 2. Okay, I don't have any numbers to bring down, so this is my remainder. And when you learn long division, you just put remainder of 2. This will be a little bit different with long division. All right, the first one I want to go over is number 3, because this one's already worked out. It might be a little hard for you to follow the steps there. But here are the steps. We want to keep terms of the same degree in the same column. And so what we're going to do in order to do that is put zeros in for placeholders. For any missing degrees. All right, so here we'll check. We have x squared, we have x to the first, so there are no missing degrees. If I look down here at number 7, there's a missing degree, and they left a space here, but what I want you to do is put plus 0x, just to hold the space there. Okay, but let's go back to number 3. Think back to what we did here. We asked how many times does 21 go into 44? Well, it's hard to think of how many times x plus 4 goes into 3x squared plus 10x. So what we're going to do is divide the first term of the divisor. So that's going to be just this x. We're going to say how many times does x go into the first term of the dividend. So off to the side here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say 3x squared divided by x. What does that equal? Well, 3x squared divided by x is just going to give us 3x. I'm going to put that up here. Now, remember what we did here. We said 21 went into 44 2 times, and then we said 2 times 21. So that's what we're going to do here. Once we put it up here, now we're going to multiply by the entire divisor. So we're going to say 3x times 3. Sorry, 3x times x. So that's going to give us 3x squared. I'm lining up the like terms, and then 3x times 4 is going to give me a plus 12x. Okay, here I changed the sign and added. I'm going to do the exact same thing here. I'm going to change the sign here, change the sign here, and now I'm going to add. When I add, that turns into 0. When I add this, that makes that a minus 2x. And just like I did up here, I'm going to bring down the next one. So this is going to be a minus 8. All right, now I start over again with just the first term of the divisor and the dividend. So off to the side here, I'm going to say, okay, now I have negative 2x, and I want to divide it by x. And when I do that, that's just going to give me a minus 2. So that's what goes up here. Now when I put it up here, now I multiply it by the entire divisor. So I divide by just the first term, but I multiply by the entire divisor. Okay, so that multiplying here, I get a minus 2x, or a negative 2x, and 4 times negative 2 is going to give me a negative 8. And I change the signs, so this negative becomes positive, this negative becomes positive. Actually, I didn't use as much room as they gave me here, but when I add here, that's going to be 0, that's going to be 0. So I don't have a remainder. Now, the remainder, when you have a remainder, you're going to not write it as r, you're going to write it as, you'll either add or subtract, and you'll put the remainder over the divisor. So let's go back up to this question right here. Here they wrote remainder 2, because when I change the signs here to a minus, and I add, that turns into 0. This is 2. You do not write the remainder as 2. You write it as plus 2 over this divisor, so 2x plus 1. All right, so I want you to take these remainders off here and then write your remainder, whatever your remainder is, write it over your divisor.